Hey, I have something really cool to show you. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about myself because I think you might relate. When I was younger, I started programming using Scratch, and it was amazing. I loved Scratch because it was so easy to get started. It's a great way to start learning to code. Unfortunately, as I continued with Scratch, I started to realize that a lot of the things that made it awesome also made it problematic as you became more advanced. Scratch is pretty underpowered. You're limited in what you can do, right? There are a lot of, you can imagine different features that you might want to add to your project that are just impossible in Scratch. They can't be done. And that feels unfortunate. That feels limiting. That feels like not the way that you want it to be. And sometimes you can get around them. Sometimes you can be creative and achieve the same effect, but it would be great if we had more power in Scratch, more options. Scratch is also a little bit slow. As you build bigger and bigger projects, sometimes you start to notice lag, things start to slow down. And that's because Scratch is designed for smaller projects, and it's really good at that. It's really good for people who are just starting out. But again, as you keep getting older, you keep learning more, Scratch starts to become not as great of an option. The last thing that's not so great about Scratch is that you're sometimes feeling a little trapped. When you make a project, you want to go share it with the whole world. And on Scratch, you can only share it on the Scratch website. If you make a Scratch project, that's the only place that it can go. And as much as I love the Scratch community, because I really do, it's unfortunate that you can't share your project in bigger and better ways. So eventually, I started to move on. What I did was find a different programming language. In my case, I chose JavaScript. And JavaScript was cool because it did a lot of things well. JavaScript sort of gives you superpowers compared to Scratch. There's so much more that you can do, right? All the little annoyances in Scratch, they just aren't there in JavaScript. It's also way faster than Scratch. Now, there are programming languages even faster than JavaScript, but going from Scratch to JavaScript is already a big step up. So speed, that was awesome. And the last thing, the thing that I really love about JavaScript is that you can publish it anywhere. JavaScript is the programming language that runs on every website. Every website you go to can run JavaScript. Now, some of them don't need it, but any web page on the internet can run JavaScript code. And so if you write a project or a program in JavaScript, it can run on basically every device. And that's really cool. You're no longer limited to just the Scratch website. So this is great, right? And it's like, why doesn't everyone switch? Well, the problem is that JavaScript is a lot harder to learn than Scratch is. And so, I spent years sort of learning web development, learning JavaScript, and transitioning away from Scratch very slowly. And it was really hard at first. It was a lot of fun because I got to do new cool things, but it was way too difficult. And so now that I know more than I did back then, I've been thinking, how could I go back and make it easier for people who are still trying to get away from Scratch, who are trying to figure out what's the next thing? And if that's you, I think I, along with a small team of very talented people who helped me out a lot, I think we have a solution, and it's going to blow your mind. It's so cool. All right, let me show you. This is the website for the project. It's called Leopard, and Leopard translates your Scratch projects into JavaScript code automatically. You click one button, and every script in your entire Scratch project is translated into JavaScript code that you can edit and play around with. It's amazing. And so if you want to learn JavaScript, this is a great way to do it. You start by building a Scratch project, and once you're feeling sort of limited, sort of constrained, then you say, I'm going to use Leopard and break out of Scratch and go off into JavaScript land and start doing crazy stuff that would normally be impossible. It's so much fun. All right, I want to give you a demo here. You can see this is a little project that I already made. This URL is just sort of filled in as the default project. And this right here is a little view of the project itself. All these dots are being drawn using the pen extension. And this is actually running in JavaScript code. So what's happening here, this is not normal Scratch code. My project got converted to JavaScript and now is running extra fast on the Leopard website here. But I don't want to use this existing project. I want to start a brand new one and show you the whole process start to finish. So I'm going to make a brand new Scratch project, and this is going to be pretty simple because I want to do it quick for the sake of the video. So I'm just going to say that when the green flag is clicked, forever we should move 10 steps and turn, let's go with 7 degrees. Okay, so the cat kind of moves in a circle. The other thing I might want is that when you click the green flag, you go to 0, 0, the starting spot, and you point in direction 90. There, point to the right. Okay, this is obviously a very simple project, but it should get the point across. All right, I'm going to save now. Then I'm going to copy the URL of the project. You won't be able to see this because it's off the top of the screen. But once I have the URL copied, the link to my project, I can go back to Leopard, the Leopard website, and I can just paste it in here. So I'm going to say, I don't want to look at this project anymore. I'm going to paste because I want to look at my own project. And after just a second, you'll see that my project has been converted to JavaScript. And you can even notice, even in the video, I bet you'll be able to tell that this is running a lot faster. If we go back and compare to the Scratch version, this is slow and laggy. The new version is fast and smooth. Oh yeah, that's exciting. But the really fun part is when we click this button down here, Edit as JavaScript. It's going to blow your mind. I click this button, and it's going to take me into a JavaScript editor. Now this editor is not just for JavaScript. You can edit HTML and CSS as well, if you happen to know what those are. But you can see I have my project over here on the right, but now I have some text-based code on the left. Now this code is actually HTML, it's not JavaScript. There's some confusing stuff there. But what this actually is a brand new web page, right? My entire project is not just a little Scratch project window, it's a whole website. And the website just happens to contain this sort of translated project. So there's some cool stuff that I can do here. But I just want to show you around for a minute. Just like in Scratch, not all of my code is visible at one time, right? So this is not all the code for the whole project. Some of it is in other files over here. So if I want to see the code for the stage, I can go into the stage folder. I can see it has some costumes, some sounds, and then it has this stage.js file. And that's where I see some JavaScript code for the stage. Now, the stage doesn't really do much, and so all of this is just sort of setup. But if I close that folder and go into Sprite 1, again, I have costumes and sounds. You can check those out. It's exactly what you would expect. But then I have sprite1.js. Again, JS stands for JavaScript. And this file has a little piece of code that should look familiar. If you look right here, this code says, when the green flag is clicked, go to 0, 0, point in direction 90, and then we have this while true, which essentially means the same thing as forever. Then we say move 10 and increase, add 7 to the direction. So this is an exact translation, an exact replica of this Scratch code right here. You can see line by line. We also have this yield. I'm going to make a separate tutorial explaining what that yield really means because it's quite interesting. But for now, my recommendation is don't remove it, because you might crash your web browser. Alright, so this is pretty cool, but I want to edit the JavaScript. I want to actually write some JavaScript myself. And I think I want to do something that's not even possible in Scratch. So what I'm going to do is say, when the green flag is clicked, after you go to 0, 0, after you point in direction 90, but before the forever loop, I want to do something that you can't do in Scratch. I'm going to say document.body.style.background. And of course, I've just sort of memorized this. You can Google it and you'll learn exactly what to type. I'm going to say set the background of the page to be, what color do you think? I'm going to go with red. And now, when I save this file, I could do file save, or I'm just going to press Control S on my keyboard. You can see that it's going to reload, and now the background of the page has actually turned red, and that's my code doing that. I wrote some code inside my project that does something that wouldn't have been possible in Scratch. It's amazing. All right, what if I want to go back and use Scratch blocks though? Because I think what I want to do is, inside my forever loop, I want to add a change color effect block. But I can't go back in here and change it, right? Because I already did the translation, and if I retranslate it, I'd lose this thing that I did. So I want to somehow add a Scratch block, but like in JavaScript. And there's a way to do this. I'm going to go back to the Leopard website. Let me see if I can find it here. Yep, back to the Leopard website, and I'm going to click on Block Translations. And here, you can see every single block translated into the equivalent JavaScript code. So I'm going to go into the Looks category and say, I want to change the color effect. This right here is exactly what I want to do. And what this is telling me is that change color effect by 25. If I want to do it in JavaScript, I say this.effects.color plus equals 25. So it's like I'm setting it equal to 25 plus what I already had. So I copied that, and I'm going to now paste it in here. And when I do that, and then save the file with Control S, you can see that I now have this color effect going on, right? So this is amazing. And as you go, you'll sort of learn how to write JavaScript code. I'll have some tutorials up. I haven't recorded them yet, but I'll teach you more. But this is really cool, right? I can write JavaScript code and edit the project, and it's really neat. But there was one more thing that I promised you. There was one more thing I said. In JavaScript, you can share what you create anywhere. Now, one thing you can do is click this share button and then copy the sandbox link. And that will copy a link to the page that we are looking at right now with all the code. And if you want someone to see your code, sort of see inside your project, this is great for that. But you might also want to share just the project without the code. And you can do that too. There's this deploy tab with a little rocket ship. Now, I already have signed in and done some stuff to make this work, and I'll do a full tutorial on this, but I just want to show you because it's so cool. If I click this deploy to Netlify button, it's going to take a minute, but what's going to happen is my project is going to become a brand new website on the internet, right? There are lots of websites. Scratch is a website, Google is a website. My project is going to become a website, and that is awesome. Now, as this is going, I'm going to click View Logs, and the logs will just show me sort of what's going on. It's like a little progress bar, and so we can watch this and see what's happening. But Netlify is actually, they are like a web hosting company. They sort of let you build websites, and so my project is being put onto Netlify right now, and it's going to become a website on the internet. Now again, like I said, this takes a minute or two. It says that right up here. But once it's done, we will actually be able to check out this site, and it's going to be really awesome. So I want to, while we're waiting, just tell you a few things. One is, this is not just me. Scratch.js, it was a project that I started, but I got a ton of help from some other people on the internet. And I just want to say thank you, first of all, because they did great work that I never could have figured out, especially some of the like effect blocks and stuff. There's incredible work happening. And so that's really cool. You can see we got some progress here. That's exciting. And the other thing that I want to say is that if you want to help out or see how this works, you can too. The code is on GitHub. It's available to you. And so you can try that as well. We'll wait for this to build here. I know this is kind of a long wait, but I promise it's totally worth it because the final result is amazing. Hey, this looks good. We're not done yet, but it's very close. Aha! Website URL right there. Okay, I'm going to click Visit Site. And here I have a full page version of my project. Now I have Google Chrome in full screen mode, but if I exit out of that, you should be able to see I'm at a brand new website. Now this is kind of a random URL, but this is a website that's all my own. And this is where my project lives. It's really cool. So I'm not sharing it on the Scratch website. I can just send people this link and they'll be able to view my project. But of course, it would be cool if I could actually change that link to something more meaningful. And so, fortunately, I can. What I'm going to do is actually claim this site. Now again, I'm going to make more of a full tutorial on exactly how to do that, so I'm just going to kind of move through this quickly. But when I go to the right place, I can edit the site name. And I can type in Josh's cool, what do we call it? Josh's cool Leopard project. By the way, the name Leopard is because it's a cat, like Scratch, but way more powerful. All right, then I can visit this URL, Josh's cool Leopard project.netlify.app, and this is now the URL for my page. And if you go and visit this website, you'll see my project. It's really neat. So this is what I'm so excited about. This is what I want you to try. So go to the Leopard webpage. I'll put a link in the video description and everywhere, and try converting one of your projects. It's such a cool way to learn JavaScript. I really hope that you enjoy it. And I want you to contact me, either in the YouTube comments or by email or whatever, anytime that you have questions, because I'm here to help. I've learned JavaScript the hard way, and I want to help you learn on your own, maybe a little bit quicker than I did. All right, that's all for now. I hope you enjoy Leopard as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'm really excited to see what you think. Bye.